If you're still typing order details from PDFs into Airtable, you're wasting time. In this video, I'll show you how Airtable's AI can extract data automatically from any PDF you upload. Check it out. Welcome back. I'm Zack from InnerDev Solutions. We help businesses streamline their processes using custom no-code tools so you can focus on what matters most. To learn more, you can visit our website, innerdevsolutions.com, or use the link in the description below. I'll show you how to build an Airtable workflow that reads a purchase order PDF and turns it into structured order data, line items, totals, everything, using the new automation action. Let's get right into it. To get started, you're going to need an Airtable account. If you don't have one already, you can create one for free using the link in the description below. To get right into it, create a new base from scratch. And what we're going to be going through today is 3 different steps. First, we're going to create our base. So our orders table, our order line items table, and all of the fields associated there. Then we're going to build a really simple interface just so that we can interact with our data and our PDF specifically. And then we're going to build out our automation. And this is where most of the magic is going to happen. There is an AI field within Airtable that we're going to use first. And then we're going to use the automations to actually handle and process the data and make it structured so that we can add it then into our table. And you'll see what I mean here in a moment. Let's get right into it. A couple things that we're going to do to get started. We need to create our orders table, and I will just double click into it and change it to orders. Delete those 2 fields, change this field name to key details from, in our case, this is going to be a purchase order. So key details from purchase order, and we can hit save. I'm going to double click into this, change this to purchase order PDF, and we can hit save. This name field, we're just going to change this to order ID, select this drop down, and we're going to select the auto number. In our status, we will create a draft status. I'm just going to change the color of it, and I'm going to set the draft as our default. Remove the other one. I'll keep it really simple. We're going to have draft and we're going to have done. I'll hit save. And maybe what we'll actually do, we're going to change this to do, make it red, and I'm going to move that in between. And you'll see why I've set that up in a moment as well. Hit save. Now we've got purchase order PDF, our key details from the purchase order. We'll need a date field, and we can label this order date, and you can change the date format to whatever you want. I'm just going to use friendly. We're going to create a single line text field. This will be customer name. Now, depending on your setup, there's a chance, and I've mentioned this in most of my videos, that you'll want to create a customers table separately and link to it rather than just making this single line text. But for this video, this is all we need. We'll go customer name. We're going to need a shipping address. This can be a long text field type. And again, probably makes sense to have this in a separate field where we can just look up the address. But we're just going to go say shipping address. We can create that field. And then there's one other one, and I'm just going to make it a single line text for now, but we'll change the field type shortly, and we'll just call this total amount. But eventually it's going to have to be a roll up so that we can sum all of the values from the linked line items. Now what we can do, we'll add a new table, and this add a blank table, start from scratch. We can change this to order items or line items, whatever you want to call it. I'll save this. And this time around, I'm just going to delete all of these fields to get us started. Similar to the orders table, I'm just going to double click into this, call this item ID, and we're just going to set this as an auto number. I'm not too worried about this field. And then there's a few that we're going to need. Line items, oftentimes they have an item description, unit price, quantity, and the total to keep it simple. So we'll go single line text, item description. We'll create a number field, which can be quantity, and I will just use whole numbers. There will be no decimal places. Create that one. We need a currency field type. This can be unit price, and we will use a formula field. Call it line item total. And this can just simply be the quantity time the unit price. And if we go into formatting, we can change this to currency. and I will create that field as well. And then the last thing that we need to do, we need to actually link the orders and the order line items. I'm going to create one additional field. I can type in something like link to another record. I could select this here, or because I know the table name that I'm looking for is orders, if I just start typing orders, it will say link to orders, allow linking to multiple records. We're going to disable that because we only want a line item to link to one order. I'll create that field. If I go back into orders, we can see that it created that field for us on this side. I'm going to double click, and here we can see allow linking to multiple records. We're going to leave that on because an order can have multiple line items. A couple more things within the database side of things. This total amount, I'm just going to double click on it. I'm going to change this field type to a formula. The total amount here, we need to change the field type. It's going to be a roll up, and it's going to go look at the order items, and we're going to sum the line item total, and I can just hit save. Now we'll go over to the key details. This is an AI field that was pre-created for us, but we need to change some of the settings and parameters within it. I'm going to double click into it. We have a few settings. I don't need it to enable internet search. I don't need it to access Drive, OneDrive, and I may let it run automatically. I'll come back to that in a moment. I'm just going to select the model, and for extracting details, I find the Gemini 2.5 Flash works quite well, and it seems to be the cheapest that actually does what we want it to do. I'm going to clear all this pre-written text. I'm going to paste in a prompt. Unfortunately, within Airtable at this point in time, we cannot just pass the PDF to the automation and have it extract the data for us. It doesn't seem to accept PDFs, but what we can do first is use this field agent to extract data from the PDF and then pass that data to the automation. It tends to work. What we're going to do, extract details from the provided purchase order document. We're going to get customer name, order date. I've specified the format that I wanted in. Order notes, I'm actually going to remove that. I'm not too worried about it for this. And I've got a shipping address as well. And then scroll down a little further, saying for line items, I want a list or an array, and I want item description, I want quantity, and I want the unit price. And then here I'm saying, okay, here's the attachment, and now I need to insert the field. The field I'm going to insert is this purchase order PDF. And now I'm going to go up to run automatically. If we hover this, we can see automatically run the agent when the input values change. In this case, what that means is anytime this purchase order PDF value changes, it's going to run this field agent. I'm going to hit save, keep existing, override exist. I'm just going to keep existing for now because I don't have any purchase order uploaded yet. So I save that. Now what we're going to do is we are going to go in and build the interface. If I go up here to interfaces, provides us with a couple options. We can try building with AI or build it yourself. I'm going to build it myself because I know exactly what I want here. I'm going to build an interface. I'll leave it as interface. No big deal there. I'm going to go down to record review as my layout, and we're going to have it assigned to the orders table. We want to display the order, and then within it, we're going to display the line items. So I can hit next. The order ID, I'll leave that on. Customer name, I want to display that. Basically, I want to display all of the different fields. Probably if you put this layout into production, what you could do is remove the key details that could just happen in the background. I want to be able to see what's happening for the purposes of this tutorial. I'm going to enable all the fields. Let's just call this purchase orders, and we can create this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click, as you can see, it's highlighted this entire section here. I'm just going to enable the background color, and I'm going to drag this down to below the total amount. And one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to drag this into its own group, because what we're going to do with the order items, we're going to change the view to a list type. Click into this. I'm going to go over to the fields to display, and I'm going to hide the item ID, but I want to see the description, quantity, unit price, and maybe the line item total as well. I'll go back up here, the order ID. In this case, I'm actually going to remove it, and the rest of these fields, I'm going to make editable with the exception of the key details from the purchase order. I'll make that a view only. I think we should be pretty much good to go here on the purchase order side of things. One other thing that we could do is if I select this left column, scroll down to the bottom, it will allow me to add records through a form. And this is the icon here. If I wanted to add a new purchase order, I'd select this icon, drag and drop that purchase order PDF in, and then the process will happen once we get it set up. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to actually drop in the PDF, and then we're going to go in and build the automation. From here, I can go into this preview mode to do a test. I'm going to upload a purchase order that I've already created for this. Once I've uploaded it, it's really simple. I'll click into it. We can see it has the details that are required for this automation to run. I'm just going to X out of this, and we can see that the agent is running. It's analyzing the file, and it's grabbing all of the data that I asked it to grab. And we can see that it has done so here. And what we're going to do, we're going to leave this in draft status. And like I said, realistically, what we're going to do is we're going to have this hidden from the view. This is going to happen in the background. I just wanted to show you what actually happens with that agent. Go into the automations, and there's a few things that we need to do. We need to set up a trigger. That trigger is going to be when a record matches a condition, and that's on the orders table. The conditions are going to be, there's two things that I'm going to do. You may have a few different conditions, but I'm going to do when the status is draft and when the key details is not empty. When the key details from the purchase order is not empty. Basically, once this field agent has processed the data and uploaded information here, then it will trigger, assuming that the status is in draft. From this, I'm going to choose a record for us to test this on. I'll select that one, and then we can click a new action. What the action is going to be is generate with AI, and we're going to choose this generate structured data. The prompt in this case is actually going to be really simple. We're just going to pass the key details information in, and then where it's actually going to learn the output schema that we're looking for is right here. We have to go through and add in each field that we need. I'm going to click this plus icon. We can scroll down to the key details field right here. We're just going to pass in the value from it, and then we can go to add key value pair. So we're going to have to go through and list out each field that we want. So there's a few things that we need. We want the customer name, and that's a string, the order date, and in this case, we'll leave that as a string as well. And we're going to need the shipping address. So those three fields are fairly simple. Then we're going to need an array because we have a list of line items that we need to pass to it. I'm just going to label this line items like that. And then we have a list of objects is basically what it is. We're going to click objects. And then within that, we can add our key value pair, which is in this case, the item description, the quantity, and the unit price. I can type in description, and that's going to be a string. Quantity, that can be a number, and the unit price can also be a number. If I scroll down a little further, we can change the model for this as well, which again, I'm going to use the Flash 2.5. It seems to work quite well, and we will leave the randomness as low. And from here, we could give it a test, but I'm just going to move on to the next step. Pretty confident that I can make this all work. Now that we've extracted all the data, we can upload these three fields here, the customer name, the order date, and the shipping address. We can update the order. We'll go update record. Table is in the orders, and the record ID is from the trigger. This is the trigger here. When a record matches a condition, we're just going to pass in the Airtable record ID. Pass that in. The fields that we're going to update, we're going to do status. We'll do the order date. We'll do customer name, and we'll update the shipping address as well. The status, I'm just going to flip this to the to-do. The order date, going to be dynamic. We will pass that in from the generate structured data step, which is right here. If I go click into the response, pass in the order date, do the exact same thing for the customer name, and the same thing for the shipping address. Now that we have our order updated, now we have to do something with the line items. And because there's multiple line items, I click into the actions. We are going to use this repeating group here. For each line item found, we need to run this same process, which is create the line item record. So repeating group, we're going to select the input list, which is from the generate structured data. This is the line items array. For each line item, we are going to create a line item record. That's going to be in the order items table. And then we're going to create a list of fields. Of course, we're going to do item description. We will do quantity. We will do unit price. And if we just do that, the problem is that these line items will not be associated to any order. So there's one other field that we have to add, and that is the orders field. For the orders field, what we're going to do, plus icon. And in this case, what we'll actually do is go to this where it says other sources. And that's from the trigger. We're going to link each of these line items to the trigger, which in this case is the main order. I'll click Airtable record ID. Now for the rest of these, we're going to go grab the data from the item in the list. It's pretty straightforward. I'll hit the plus icon where it says current item. We've already got that selected. I can pass in the description. Quantity, same thing. I have to hit this gear icon first because this is dynamic data. We'll hit plus, current item, quantity, and then unit price, same thing, dynamic data. We'll go current item, unit price. And now if I go over here, I can label this, which is process PDF, and I will turn this on. And now if I go back into our interfaces, I'm just going to click preview. And because I need to activate the trigger, what I need to do here is just turn off the draft. We already have the key details entered. Now we'll set the status to draft again. And if I scroll down, we can see this data will get filled in a moment. And it happened actually very quickly. I didn't even have time to go back to the automation to show you that it was running. But we can see here it passed in the date, customer name, and the shipping address. And if I open up the PDF, we can also see the price total or subtotal before taxes is $17.30, but it correctly identified the name, the date, and the address. If I scroll down a little bit here, we can see that the total amount is $17.30, and that's rolling up from each line item. If I scroll down a little further, we can see that it correctly identified each line item with the description, the quantity, and the unit price. And then this is our formula that's automatically calculating the quantity times the unit price. I'll go into the automation one more time. I'll click history. We can see it did run, and I will do this same PDF one more time. In this case, I'm going to hit this plus icon. This is already preset to draft, so I'll just upload that same PDF one more. Upload, we'll click create, and we will see here that the agent is analyzing the file. So it's extracting all the data from the PDF. And then once that's done, the automation will trigger to create the structured data, and it will create the line because we can see they're not here yet. All the key details have been extracted. If I scroll down and give it a moment, we'll see the line items get created. And here they are. Here's all of the line items. Again, description, quantity, price, date, name, and address all correctly for us. This is really great that Airtable has added this functionality. It required external tools previously. Now, there is going to be some limitations to this, but it is really nice that we have this functionality built right into Airtable now so that we do not have to connect to external sources for this relatively simple functionality, at least in today's world with AI being just about in everything. That's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more tutorials in the future.